Testing audio. Looking good on this end. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It is Wednesday. It is 4:30 p.m. Central Time. Ish. It is office hours here on the ViaMonstra Academy. I'm Johan. I'll be your host today. Hopefully, Andrew will sneak in a little bit later. He mentioned he might be able to join us, but unless that happens, you are stuck with me here for the next hour or so. But with that being said, we had some great news from the community in the week that passed. And before diving into that one, I just got pinged by Andrew. Let's see what he is up to. Give me just a moment. Dum. Invite guests. Here we go. I have this covered. Trained professional. We can do this. I'm just dropping Andrew an email with a link and see if he can join in. That is always a... But in the meantime, I can actually go ahead and check the audio unless someone already mentioned that audio is loud and clear. I see the chat comments. Audio is apparently being heard, so that is good news. All right. I will just ping Andrew and say that I emailed him a new link. And hopefully he'll be able to join us. There is nothing like live debugging. That's how we do things. In fact, what I spent most of my day with today, debugging stuff. So let's see if this works. That's what they say. What can possibly go wrong in a live demo? Turn out to be quite a few things. There I heard a lovely little ping.
There we go.
Hey, I know that gentleman.
Hello.
Festive dress as well. I'm going for Buddy the Elf today.
I love it. Buddy the Elf, Age of Empires, we're all good.
Well, glad to have you here. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it, but I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be here, especially this will be our final office hours for the year, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on running them on Christmas Eve or day. I wasn't. Probably not New Year's either. So, yeah.
Probably final. For the best. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe we'll do one on January 1st. We'll see.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah. So, what's been going on the past week or so?
Yeah, so I've been in and out, as you well know, but still had the opportunity to come across a few things. I see the Microsoft and the community both seem to be ending the year on a strong note, which is fantastic. We've had a very busy year up to this point already. But yeah, I've got a few things that I can share if you'd like to share my screen.
That I can and will and did.
You know a guy?
I know a
guy. So first things first, very exciting news. Conference registration actually opened for the Music City edition of MMS next year. So this is the fall edition of MMS starting in October of 2025, October 12th to be exact. Very excited to see that registration get open as I'm slightly excited every time I see an MMS registration go live. So that should be a pretty exciting one over in Nashville. And we've never been in Nashville for MMS, so I will be looking forward to that for sure.
I've never been to Nashville at all, so I'm just super excited to hopefully get to go.
That's very exciting. I thought at this point you had pretty much been everywhere, so
No, sir.
maybe we'll plan on going down a day early or something like that, and we can see what the city's all about. All right. So let's see what else. Another thing that I had here came across a roadmap update for Intune over on the Microsoft 365 roadmap. Enhanced device inventory. We've been talking about that around Windows quite a bit recently, but the enhanced inventory for Apple and Android devices, that got a new update of rollout currently planned to start in March 2025. So just a few short months away. I imagine we'll blink and we'll be in March already. So I'm pretty excited to see that update for sure. On the note of device inventory, I also came across a blog post from Peter Vanderwood from 2 days ago, and sort of a short and sweet but nice explanation on how to use the new hardware properties in Intune. So basically using that properties catalog to configure the new hardware inventory that we can collect in Intune and get that up into the platform, as well as how we can view it on a specific device. So happy to see this nice little Resource Explorer view here that looks fairly familiar to me. I think we've seen Resource Explorer in the past, so this should be a familiar way to navigate around this new new enhancement. So since the last couple of weeks, I mean, I've been on, I was on vacation a little bit, and Johan and I had a masterclass. And Johan, did you get to talk about device inventory at all while I was gone, or did you get to play around with it or anything? Kind of
No,
put me on the
I got
spot,
it to
but-
working basically the day before office hours. So I did show the Resource Explorer, and I had a few devices. I showcased my HP showing the information. I was whining about free space property not being available or exactly where I wanted it to be. But yes, I did cover it briefly.
Awesome. Do you have any thoughts on it? Promising? You're excited to see it, I assume?
No, I'm happy to get it. What I'm
Excellent.
really hoping for the future is that there will be some sort of functionality for us to extend it ourselves.
Yes.
Like you do in ConfigMgr, you provide a MOF file and here you go. So hopefully.
Yes, we'll have to keep our fingers crossed and continue to provide our feedback.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. A couple more things real quick. I saw that our friend Jurgen posted about administrator protection in Windows 11. I know, Matt, you've been asking about that a little bit recently, and I still have not had the opportunity to play around with it myself, but with Jurgen posting about this, pretty excited to dive in here, hopefully over the next couple of weeks with a little bit of downtime and see what we can do with it. So this is basically just some additional protections around our accounts that do have local administrator on our devices. It's a new feature that rolled out. It announced at Ignite and is going to be a part of Windows 11. So very excited to see this as well. And last but not least, a very popular front end that has been around for quite a while, UIPlusPlus from Jason Sandys. I noticed that Jason open sourced it. Yesterday I saw the announcement, but it looks like it was at least uploaded to GitHub a few days ago. So now the open source code is available for UI++ out on GitHub. Should anyone want to adjust it or modify it or anything, that is pretty exciting stuff. And I know that some folks have been asking for that for a while. I mean, this has been a very popular front end, Johan, for years now at this point.
Oh yeah, decade or more. And one of the benefits of having it as open source now is someone is willing to put in the time and effort, we can remove the VB script dependencies in it. So it's also safe for, future.
Absolutely. So that was some of the big news that I came across over the last week.
All right, I have a few things myself, so I'm going to head and steal that screen of yours, and I'm replacing it with this one.
Looks good.
So first of all, before last week, I blogged about the new ADK that was just released. And what changed since then is that Microsoft updated their own documentation, probably around office hours last week. But I just wanted to mention that it is supported now in the latest 24.9 version, and also some of the older versions of ConfigMgr. So if I scoot over here to our friend Google and search for CCM ADK support, it should take me straight to that support page. And here you have it. The new shiny ADK version is indeed supported on all the currently supported version of ConfigMgr. I haven't had a chance yet to verify if the DISM bugs that we found in this version of the ADK is fixed yet. For now, most of our customers are indeed on this version, and it's a rock-solid version. And that version can also be used to deploy Server 2025. It can be used to deploy Windows 11 23H2, 24H2. Works beautifully. So still, this one here is a really good choice. But I'm kind of interested to learn more about, what's going on in this one. One nice touch I have to say about the December edition of this is they finally updated the script that comes with it. So they will now stage the new boot binaries that are signed for the next wave of EFI files that we'll be using for the next decade or so. So that was good stuff, obviously. Another thing, I posted this yesterday, I think, 17. Yeah, yesterday. Found some new and changed features in Windows 11 24H2. Some stuff that were removed, some stuff that was added, and some of the things I knew already, but these guys here, I haven't quite figured out exactly what they are for and how they are used yet. Container has been there since forever, but the container server, I mean, the name says it, all right, probably something for managing containers. And I'm guessing it might be some pieces from the old, this one here integrated somehow, but I don't know yet. So I reached out to a few folks to get some clarity on these guys. If you guys happen to know, let me know. I'll be happy to update the blog post. But anyway, that's what I stumbled across in 24H2. Then, of course, Microsoft released the slow ring update of 2409. So I upgraded to that one. So that one is now installed. So now I have two 2409 installed. One is just a little bit newer than the other. And sure enough, they fixed the CM pivot issue that was in the early week. And the task sequence issue I had, I could no longer nest sequences. Didn't go away with the upgrade, which surprised me. But I found out the reason. I had a BIOS update template that I've been using that was created at some point 7 years ago, and I have been continuing adding changes to it. When I tried to link that one, the console just exploded. Didn't want to have it, but I picked any of my other module sequences, it will happily nest them. So long story short, I opened one, edited it. I cannot say that. I changed it. Just put in the description in one of the fields and saved it again, and then I can link it. So it must have been something that template being like super old was something that I didn't like. So I did reach out to the product group and ask if they knew anything, but I haven't heard anything yet. But anywho, fun stuff. I thought it was fun stuff.
Definitely.
What else did I do? Yeah, I fixed the bug. I did a post. Let me go back here from my Ignite session in here. I shared the scripts. So apparently I have spelled drivers with 2 R's in the end. It's not supposed to be there. So I fixed that and updated the script. So if you're looking for scripts to upgrade Windows 11 using Microsoft Intune, this is a good resource. And you simply run it on a device as a remediation, and it creates all the customization options for you. It even generates other PowerShell scripts that are now being run by Intune as part of that process. So, and then I spent about 4 hours today trying to figure out why a few of my devices just downright refused to be enrolled into the deployment service in one of my tenants. So we continued to that one this evening. It was fun. The timing is perfect, because on Friday we are doing a short troubleshooting session on our community on exactly software updates. So I will share some of my findings then.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Yep. So that's all I had at the moment.
All right. Busy week.
Heck yeah.
Awesome. Well, we do have a couple of questions that have come in if we want to tackle some of those.
Yep.
All right. Sounds good. So first question here from Matt. Have you heard about Nvidia's new device? If so, is this a standard PC or something else?
I have no idea. It looks almost like a Raspberry Pi by the size of it, but it obviously wasn't one. But I remember the price, $249, and I remember seeing 2 metrics on how quickly it could do AI stuff. One said 67 trillion operations per second, the other one said 70. Either way, it's pretty quick.
Wow.
But I don't know what type of machines it is. I'll be surprised if it's a Windows device for that kind of money. But anyhow, I don't know.
Interesting. I guess I missed that news, so I've got a little bit of reading to do.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Another question here that we've got from Matt. Can you please tell me if there are any Microsoft or community tools for migrating Intune with devices, policies, settings, etc., from one tenant to another?
Yes. Yes, and yes. It's a tool that we have showcased, I feel like 100 times, but probably not it. But this is the tool in question, Intune Manager. It's a community solution by Mikael Karlsson. I'll be happy to bring the link or share the link here in the chat. But it's a tool that you download, and it allows you to export, import, document tenants. You can import from one tenant, export from one tenant and import to another. Really useful. This is also the tool if you are leveraging the open Intune baselines that we have showcased here a few times. Like if you guys need a jump start into Intune, you can just download these configurations. So there are like tons of ready-made setups that come from a different tenant, well tested, that you can import and use. The naming standard is gold, and the naming convention it's beautiful. Love it. And you use the same tool to import them. So you would simply go to your settings catalog, and you would hit import, and you specify a folder, and then it will show you everything that is in that folder. You can skip assignment if you don't want to do that, but then it just imports all of those into your tenant, and you can have that as a starting ground. So for organizations who are just starting up with Intune, I just want something to know that is somewhat well tested and get going with. Heck, a lot of work is already done for you. Absolutely beautiful, this little solution. Not so little, in fact, but I love this stuff.
It's community effort at its finest right there.
Right there.
Awesome. All right. Got a question here, sort of a general question, I think, from Sahid over on YouTube. I need help installing an application from home using the company portal. Any ideas?
Like triggering it remotely, or just making sure it's available to the user or the device for that matter? That is the question. I haven't
Yes.
tried programmatically run something from the company portal.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it for Software Center or stuff that is deployed through ConfigMgr, because that's fairly straightforward. There are already made APIs and SDKs on the client to do it. I just don't know if one exists for Intune.
All right. Well, I'll keep an eye out here to see if Sahid can add some additional detail to the question. And if so, we can circle back around that here shortly.
Yeah. But I mean, Andrew, do you mind just showing a Win32 app that you assigned to a group? That was
No, not at all. Just show just one that I have in Intune.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, wrong thing here.
Let me know when you're ready.
Yes, sir. Just one moment.
One.
All right. I am ready. So just over here in the Intune Admin Center, if I pop over to my apps, and then I'm just going to select Windows apps specifically, you can see here I have a whole bunch of Win32 apps. Some are assigned out to my devices, some are not. Let's actually see if we can filter assigned apps only so it can focus on something that actually is out there and available to my users or devices, rather. Depends on how I've assigned them. Anyways, we have some of these applications have been created manually by me. Some of them have been created by Patch My PC running here in my lab. And so if I just select one of these, let's go with Firefox, for example. This looks like a Patch My PC application. So Patch My PC, if you're not familiar with it, will help bundle lots of third-party applications as well as push out updates for them as well. In Intune or ConfigMgr. So I've got that configured up in my lab, and what it's doing for me is creating these Win32 apps, in this case, Firefox, and assigning them for me to either, in this case, I'm assigning them to some devices. So you can see that I have, I happen to know their devices because of the naming convention that I'm using here in my lab. SG for security group, -CMP for computers. And as I have these assigned out as available, they will show up in the company portal for me to go ahead and, as a user, open the company portal, click on one, and install it. Should have another one in here that is assigned to users. No, not that one. Oh, maybe I don't right now. I must have mostly device assignments. But the process looks exactly the same. You can go ahead and assign devices out to Entra groups that are either full of users as members or devices as members, and we can assign them out as available or required. Available is just an optional install where users can go through that process that I described through the company portal, select which applications they want to install and install them. On the required side, though, they will just be installed silently, essentially in the background. How about cover it, Johan?
Sounds about right.
All right.
We did get a comment from Dean here in the chat also. So perhaps by PC creating these applications is that pretty much like Robopack. I haven't seen that solution, but reading up online on it, it seemed to be also a platform that allows you to basically help you with the creation of apps in Intune. And I did spot that Dean actually have a video available out on YouTube reviewing it. So heck, we'll post a link to that one and people can see for themselves. Thank you for joining, Dean, by the way. Good to see you.
All right.
There was a question from Matt regarding MMS, basically asking for the sessions, do you need to reserve a seat? Not for the session per se. It's basically a first come, first serve, and it rarely gets so crowded that you cannot join. But the organization really wants you guys to sign up for sessions as early as you possibly can, so they know what room to put to what sessions. So they don't have a session where 300 people want to go and the room fits 50, and the other way around. So please do pick out the sessions you want to go, but it's not written in stone. You can still go to another one if you want, but it does help. Prime will be happy, put it that way. And that goes a long way.
I would say so. I agree.
Yeah.
I did see here too. I don't know if you. Sorry if you mentioned this already. So he did follow up that for the applications on the company portal, it's available on the device, but just failed during installation.
Well, something I found incredibly valuable for not just available apps, but any type of apps that you deploy through Intune, is to provide some additional logging yourself to help with troubleshooting. Because the basic Intune logging that you get is like, all right, didn't run. Oh, fantastic. I like it's you don't get much details. But most installers these days, they allow you to put in like a logging switch, or if it's an MSI, you can have verbose logging on the MSI itself, and it really, really helps troubleshooting. So like we would do for feature updates, where we create a subfolder in program data, where we put our custom stuff for those, I recommend doing the same for applications that you install from Intune, so that you have a consistent way of logging things. You can use PSADT for that, for example, has a great logging functionality built into it. So you have a standardized way of not just creating them and working with them, but also how they log data, so allow you to troubleshoot more easily. But yeah, the various logs in the IME folder certainly can help a little bit, but usually to figure out why something didn't install, if it was a failure from the installer itself, it's usually better to have log files available. If it's just downloading stuff, yeah, then the Intune logs can help. It will tell you why it couldn't download.
All right. Perfect. Thank you. See another follow-up comment here from Matt on the administrator protection feature. Working with Windows 11 24H2 and working if you have the administrator account available, whereas some companies have already disabled that. Yep, sounds good. Thanks for the tip, Matt. Got a question here from Aaron over on YouTube. When trying to install WSUS for ConfigMgr, the post-installation task keeps failing. Can't seem to find the cause online, and MS support can't either. And I think these other two comments here are follow-ups. Currently, ConfigMgr is on one VM, and SQL Server for both ConfigMgr and WSUS is on another VM.
Yeah, I have seen that task failing quite many times. And it's usually one of the XML files that is missing some information. See, I actually did save out some of that a while ago. See if I can find that real quick. Let me steal the screen here for a second.
Sounds good.
This, by the way, was for my troubleshooting earlier today. But let's see here. Fix software update point post-install issues. That sounds kind of reasonable. Yeah. Yeah, this would be something I would recommend checking. Go to this particular folder and open up the different XML files there and make sure they have what they're supposed to have, because I stumbled across a few times where they just downright was missing either the server name or a folder name or something, because this is done by the post-install actions. You can force it to do that after the fact also. So maybe that. I mean, at this point, there is not much to lose. If you cannot complete the setup, it cannot complete the setup.
Right.
So I would recommend this.
Perfect. And then looks like a related question here from Aaron. If I needed to move to a single server hosting everything to fix that issue, what would be the process for migrating the ConfigMgr database, or is a complete uninstall necessary? And if I recall correctly, a certain gentleman I know wrote a blog post on migrating the ConfigMgr database.
Yeah, it's actually fairly straightforward. It's not it's not too bad. But first of all, I realized that this was probably a lot of things to copy off a screen, even though there are some fancy OCR screen readers now that you can use. But I figured I'll be it's the holiday coming up, and I'm feeling generous, so
Aww.
Every now and then.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So here. So if you go to our GitHub repo that we use for most of our things here on the Academy, there is a WSUS folder, and there where you find that text snippet I just showed. Migrating the database, simple as I mentioned, relatively simple. Here, how you move it to different step-by-step guide. And even though this has a few years to it, the process is pretty much the same still. So that would be a good start. And I do like to keep SQL on the site server. It makes things so much easier in general. I try to avoid all the high availability options because they're usually causing me more trouble than I was supposed to get from having them.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you, sir, for that and for sharing that file.
All right. What's up next?
Right. Glenn's asking a question over on YouTube. With the upcoming deprecation of MDT and MDT integrated task sequences in ConfigMgr, do you know of any good community task sequence monitoring solutions that are real-time, like MDT monitoring?
Yes, I do. Let me see. This one here, which is an old one from Trevor Jones, works without any MDT integration. It happens to have sort for it, but it works nonetheless. You simply pick your sequence, and I don't have any running right now, but it will show me the actions in real time, or as real time as status messages and config menus. But we're talking about maybe 10 to 30 seconds behind. So it's fairly quick, this one here. And that one is available for download, and we can certainly put the link here under the video also. Of course, a shameless plug, the company I work for, 2 Software, we have a dashboard where we in real time shows everything that goes on in terms of OS deployment. And we are usually like a half of a second behind. So it's more real time. But this is a commercial solution, whereas this one here is a community solution. But it's still close to real time. It's usually quite valuable. What else? We have our friends over at System Center dudes. They have a few Power BI dashboards for OSD. They are really good. And they are also, I would say, exactly real time, because they're also based on status messages. But, they're nice. Get a lot of details also from your deployments with those. So, yeah, I will start there.
Awesome. All right. Matt's asking, can you please explain how to create an application package in Intune with PowerShell, like we did before with ConfigMgr? So PowerShell calls the JSON and the installer, while Intune lets me only use one file. So basically packaging up, I think just packaging up an application essentially, and creating that in Intune. I hope I'm reading that question correctly.
I think so.
So around automation for Win32 apps in Intune, Nikolai Anderson has mostly Nikolai over on the MS Endpoint Manager GitHub repo has a PowerShell module that will help you create applications, get information about Win32 apps, update Win32 apps. Johan, if you want to share my screen, I have the repo up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So in here, you can see a bunch of different functions that are in this module that will help do various things, not only creating the application, but also creating the assignments and essentially everything that you need to do in terms of automating Win32 app management in Intune. This would be one of the places that I would look at first, Matt, for doing this. Be my short and sweet answer on that, I think. You have anything you'd like to add, Johan?
No, we did publish a few scripts doing the many of the test applications that we were using.
Yeah.
They are up on our GitHub also. But they are using this module. So.
That is, there we go. Yeah, I've got that here too. You're referring to the create P2P test Win32 apps?
Yeah. That's just a PowerShell script that creates a ton of apps that I'm using for testing. Making sure that downloads are functional, that applications can be deployed to clients without actually doing anything on the clients. They basically create a text file in the temp folder. That's the entire installation. But I use that as a detection method, and that allows me to verify end-to-end that Intune is actually functional to deploy apps, and I can deploy them over and over and over again without having someone being upset.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for reminding me that this was up on our repo too, because this gives a good, great example of how you can, basically the syntax for using that module, as you said. So,
yeah. Worth mentioning is that if you use a more recent version of that module, it does have support for the Azure copy utility, copy.exe. And that one is more or less required if you're planning on uploading any larger apps, like several gig apps, because the usual upload will just time out and die on you. So PowerShell is king.
That's right. I see Dean added in here too. He's about to release a video on PS80T version 4 that might help Matt out. So we'll keep an eye out for
Nice.
that
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I mentioned it last week that it was announced. Maybe it was the week before.
Cool.
Anywho, yeah. Looking forward to that.
Awesome. All right. I got a question from Lynn over here on LinkedIn. What is the best option for imaging since MDT slash ADK is going away? I haven't seen any news about ADK, but MDT.
Yeah, MDT was announced being deprecated. I mean, we know it for a long time that it's going away, but this was like the first official announcement that they're planning on ending that support in October 2025. ADK is going to be around for a long time, I assume, because pretty much any deployment solution, no matter even the supported ones like ConfigMgr, they still use those components. As far as I see it, MDT is really a bunch of scripts that is running utilities from the ADK. And if you ever come into a scenario about not being supported, if you have an issue, just take a boot image and without anything and just run that command line and see if you can reproduce the issue. Because if you can, it's not the script, it's that actual component that is not functional. But 2Point, or with Michael Niehaus in leading that effort, we have an upcoming deployment solution for next year. We call it Deploy R. It's going to be a community part of it, and it's going to be a commercial part of it. So you can basically pick one that where the budget kind of fits. So I'm looking forward to see the release of that one. I've seen some early sneak demos, of course, but that'll be cool. And Niehaus, he kind of knows a thing or two about imaging, since he practically wrote MDT back in the days.
Yeah.
So, I mean, short and sweet, MDT will still work for a good while, but obviously there is no further development of it. So, and for those users who are running ConfigMgr, get away from that integration. Create new sequences. You can use the scripts. They're not going to have, running a script itself is going to work. It's just that they get away from the sequence templates. That's what they have hinted about, saying that can actually cause corruption down the road if you continue to use them. So, what I mean,
not like the MDT police are going to show up and say, you're using the PowerShell scripts or using these scripts.
No, I mean, it's still, VB scripts are still supported, but I mean, I worked with one customer just a few months back, and they were only using a handful of the MDT features. We just rewrote them in PowerShell and said, all right, fine, done with it.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
No, and like you said, I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise at this point, as sad as it is. So, all right. Diego's wondering if we have added Copilot in the ribbon for Microsoft 365 client apps. I have not done that at all. Have you, Johan?
Nope.
No.
Have not.
So I don't know if there's a new way to do that that's come around, or I have not seen that. But if anybody else has, please feel free to share.
I saw a lovely comment from Dean there. Niehaus knows more about Autopilot than Autopilot. Not going to argue that point.
No.
Not at all.
And look who commented right below Dean as well. Mr. Niehaus himself.
Oh,
thanks for joining us, Michael.
Good to have you.
Absolutely. All right. We've got a question over on LinkedIn. Are offline language packs not being offered in the future from Microsoft? It seems like they want you to download them via the web through the operating system.
Yeah, I did so download link for the media. I just haven't had a chance to try it out. But the PowerShell commanders, they will download it on their own. See if I can check real quick. Challenging. You have so many things you want to try out and so little time to do it.
Yeah, whoever figures out how to add more hours to the day, they're going to be rich.
They're gonna be rich. No, there is media for download. Let me share my screen.
right.
Go back to my screen. Here. I just don't have a chance to try it out, but I don't expect this one to be much different than the early ones. So, wonder what the size is of this one. It doesn't say. Give me the checksum. That is good, but it's 5 gigs, 5.8, 6 gigs in size. Well, I guess I will test it later then.
Must have. Do those typically have all of the different packs in them?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the consensus. I expect you still have to apply patches after applying them because that's what I've been doing for the older ones over the years. Because they don't update these every month, but they update the media every month. So at some point, it will be older than, well, it's on the media. Yeah, anywho.
All right. So we got a question over here on LinkedIn from Anders. If a computer is broken and repaired by the vendor, so let's say a motherboard gets replaced, and the computer is then reset by the vendor, what is the best practices with regards to the stale objects in Entra, Intune, and Autopilot after that repair?
Well, first of all, there is a process that the vendors is supposed to be following. OEM releasing motherboard Autopilot. That Microsoft have been put together. So like a fairly lengthy process of what needs to be done or what an admin has to be doing. So I would start reading up on this one. But there are plenty of cleanup scripts out there up on PowerShell Gallery that can help you remove orphan objects, etc. I'll start with this one. The most fun script to run is Autopilot Nuke. It does that.
Pretty much a clean slate for that device.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I do want to point out to this comment here from Aaron. So going back to when we were talking about separate servers or the same server for ConfigMgr and SQL, went with the separate server because we have a group that hosts SQL servers, but regret it in hindsight. And I just wanted to call this out because you're not the only one, Aaron. It's a very common scenario, though this has been the recommendation to have everything local for quite some time. I just wanted to let Aaron know that he's in good company.
Yeah. I mean, if you work with config managers, you literally become the accidental DBA as part of that work commitment. I don't mind having DBAs around and having help from them because they know a lot about SQL. And I don't mind helping them with the site server, but I will be an admin on that SQL box.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I cannot do my job as a ConfigMgr admin. It's just not possible. There are so many times you will have to go and not change stuff in the database, but look up things in the database that you have to know. So, yeah.
Something you and I talk about a lot, especially when we're talking about home labs and things like that, and sort of how we came up in our careers. What you just mentioned on the DBA side, as well as I never expected to learn so much about identity and automation and operations and everything just by managing a few Windows computers. It's quite. I happen to think it's very fun, like you were saying earlier, to learn all of these things. But we end up learning a lot of different things in the systems management space. That's for sure.
No, a little bit of Intune, a little bit of ConfigMgr, a little bit of Graph, a little bit of PowerShell, a little bit of SQL, a little bit of
That's all.
policies, file servers.
A little Active Directory, a little Entra.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. A couple more things to touch on here, it looks like. Sahid's got another question over here on YouTube. Configuration Manager remote desktop connection to a client times out for about 18 to 20 minutes and works sometimes. Any ideas?
Yeah. 3 letters.
DNS.
Yeah, that would be a good starting point. But I expect some sort of either connectivity issue or name resolution issue somehow. But
Yeah.
the remote control function in ConfigMgr, it kind of likes direct line of sight to devices. There are many other remote control solutions that doesn't do that. The one I happen to like most personally is ConnectWise. A few of our customers are using it, and I absolutely just love working in those environments because not only can I remote into those devices at will anywhere, I can also remote in at the same time as the user is using them, and I won't even know I'm there. It creates a separate backstage session. So I can do all my troubleshooting in the world and then just don't interrupt anyone. That is shiny. Not free, but shiny.
Yeah.
And I don't even have stocks in that company, so it's no personal gain.
That's right. Awesome. I just see some follow comments here from Michael around language packs. They did start to move away from language packs with Windows 11 initial releases, but it seems they've backtracked from that and are now back to simple language pack cabs. Haven't tried the PowerShell approach recently. It used to be a bit flaky.
Yeah, I tried it in a few sequences, and what I found is that every time I ran it, I had to reapply patches after running it. So
Yeah.
that was probably a reason why. But sometimes going back old school, keeping things simple, it goes a long way.
Oh, yes. Awesome. I'm just double checking here to make sure we haven't missed anything. There's been a fantastic whirlwind of questions today.
Yeah. I remember seeing a recording with Sudagar, one of the Microsoft engineers on the setup team from 2019. At
Yeah.
that time, he said that in 5 years, language packs will be great. And this is 5 years, so if great is going to back to regular cab files, all right, I'm game. I'm more impressed of him knowing that 5 years ago.
All right. That's funny.
I don't see any other questions. That was a good chunk of them, and thank you for that. But I hope we don't miss anyone. Does Windows 11 support voice fonts? I don't know. Do you know, Andrew?
I do not.
I know there is a voice feature upcoming that basically live translation and stuff. They talked about that at Ignite a little bit, but voice fonts is a new concept to me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, same here. Nothing I've come across. I do see, different languages for text to speech. It looks like you can install. I'm not sure if that's really the question, but that's been around for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. No really great answer. There was another comment coming in from Oleg, or question. Anyone noticed the wrong ISO being downloaded? Basically, you download the English one, but you get the UK English version of it. I have not seen that. I was actually downloading 24H2, yes, the other day from this site, not from the admin center. And that one had the right version downloaded. And they haven't published December one yet either. But when I downloaded that one, the language that was here gave me the option of basically picking here the right version, and it was the right version. So I haven't seen that being mixed up, meaning you pick this one and you accidentally get this one. So.
Yeah, I haven't come across it myself, but I did happen to stumble upon a Reddit post from yesterday. I just actually forgot to send it to you last night. that was referencing this. I know. But yes, it seems like others were experiencing this when downloading it from the admin portal. I don't know if they've since fixed it today, just because that post was from yesterday. But it looks like
to have access to one, we can check.
Yes. Yes, I do. So I will double check and I will post about it this evening.
There you go.
Good call.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. A follow-up from Anders. Cleanup. I did remove the Intune device. Computer was installed with Windows 11 24H2 and came in nice. After 6 days, though, the user says she cannot log into Office apps like Teams and Outlook. When checking the serial, looks like it's assigned to the stale old computer. Guessing maybe the Autopilot hash is incorrect then.
Yeah, but that's odd, because once it's fully enrolled, shouldn't change that.
Yeah.
That's an odd one. No, I don't have any more ideas on that one. We did have a final question coming in here. During out-of-box experience, the Windows update kicks in automatically. Is there a way to disable this? Not to my knowledge. I didn't see a control plane for that. Might be, but I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything either.
All right, then. Another question coming in from Sahid: why the MDM policy, or why the MDM win over group policy does not affect devices in production for 2 years, while that particular conflict resolution feature is per policy. So, for example, it will not work correctly on Windows Update policies. So, anyhow, that one is not to be reliable. It's better not to have conflicts between old and new ways of doing things. But with that, we are up on the hour. thank you everyone for joining, for asking great questions and commenting and sharing. And Andrew, glad to have you back.
I'm happy to be back. And just real quick note, I guess, for everybody, or comment here, since this will be our final office hours for the year, I just wanted to thank you, Johan, and everybody new joining us today, and every week that we have new folks, and everyone that's been joining us throughout the year. This has been phenomenal. This is one of the highlights of the week. I love jumping on here with you, Johan, and everybody else joining us. So I just want to say thank you, and I hope all of you have happy holidays and get a good chance to relax a little bit and enjoy time with friends and family. So thank you all.
Thank you. Well spoken. +1 on that one. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.